You already know what a dolphin looks like. You've seen them leap out of the water at marine parks, glide alongside boats, smile at you from the other side of aquarium glass. You think you understand them. Playful, gentle, intelligent in a way that feels almost human. The animal that rescues drowning swimmers. The creature that children put on bedroom posters and birthday cakes. That familiarity is exactly what makes them so dangerous. They are highly intelligent, socially sophisticated, coalition-forming predators that commit infanticide, wage coordinated attacks on other species, and have sent dozens of people to the hospital with broken bones. The image you carry in your head of a dolphin, smiling, curious, eager to connect, is one of the most aggressively manufactured impressions in the entire history of human relationships with animals. And we built that impression ourselves. We put them in tanks. We trained them to wave at crowds. We named them Flipper. And in doing so, convinced an entire civilization that one of the most cognitively complex predators on the planet was a friend. What they actually are is something evolution spent tens of millions of years refining. And what evolution built, when it built the dolphin, was something that should make you profoundly uncomfortable the next time you get in the water. To understand the dolphin, you first have to understand what kind of mind it has. The bottlenose dolphin has an encephalization quotient, a measure of brain size relative to body mass, of approximately 4.14. For reference, humans sit at around 7. Chimpanzees sit at around 2.5. The dolphin's brain is not just large, it is structured in ways that suggest cognitive complexity that scientists are still trying to fully map. The cerebral cortex of a bottlenose dolphin, the region associated with reasoning, social behavior, and higher-order thought, has one of the most extensively folded structures in the animal kingdom, rivaling and in some measures surpassing our own. What that means in practice is this. Dolphins recognize themselves in mirrors, one of the rarest markers of self-awareness in the animal kingdom, a test passed by only great apes, elephants, and a handful of other species. They understand grammar, distinguishing correctly between instructions like take the ball to the hoop and take the hoop to the ball. They assign individual names to each other through unique signature whistles and recognize those whistles after years of separation. They form multi-level political alliances, not simple pairs, but shifting coalitions of coalitions where groups of males ally with other groups of males to compete against third groups. In a social architecture that researchers describe as more complex than anything documented in non-human primates. This is not a cute animal. This is an alien intelligence that evolved in the ocean for tens of millions of years, completely separately from us, and that intelligence does not make it gentle. It makes it capable of things we never expected. In Cardigan Bay, Wales, something began washing ashore in the early 1990s that nobody could explain. Harbor porpoises, dozens of them, dead. Their internal organs ruptured, their ribs fractured, deep lacerations across their bodies consistent with tooth marks. The injuries were severe enough that forensic marine biologists described them as evidence of sustained, deliberate, high-force attacks. The perpetrators were bottlenose dolphins. Between 1991 and 2011, researchers recorded 137 porpoise deaths in that region, attributable to dolphin attacks. The behavior was documented at sites across Scotland, Wales, California, and North Carolina. In each location, the pattern was the same. Dolphins would attack porpoises, animals they do not eat, animals that pose no threat to them, with methods researchers describe in clinical terms that don't fully soften what they mean. Sandwiching, where two dolphins pin the smaller animal between them. Ramming with the rostrum, violent repeated tossing into the air. Drowning. One researcher who witnessed a sustained attack documented what she observed directly. 23 dolphins in or around the attack group, 115 strikes over 75 minutes. The calf almost certainly did not survive. Scientists struggled for years to explain why. The leading theory is something called the practice hypothesis. Harbor porpoises are approximately the same size as dolphin calves. The males who commit these attacks are primarily young adults, at the age when they begin competing for reproductive access. The attacks, researchers now believe, are rehearsal. Young males using porpoises to practice the same techniques they will later apply to kill calves that are not their own. This is the detail that never makes it into the footage of dolphins leaping at sunset. Bottlenose dolphins commit infanticide. Documented. Confirmed. Published in peer-reviewed literature across multiple populations on multiple continents. Male dolphins kill calves they did not sire, ramming them repeatedly with their rostrums, biting them, attempting to drown them, because a female whose calf has died will return to estrus sooner. It is a reproductive strategy. It is deliberate. It is methodical. And it requires the cognitive capacity to understand the relationship between a calf's death and a female's future availability. That is not instinct in any simple sense. That is planning. In 2016, a single male bottlenose dolphin killed 6 harbor porpoises in the German Baltic Sea over 3 months. Autopsies documented hemorrhages, fractured ribs, and a lacerated lung in multiple animals. The researchers noted that the perpetrator appeared to target, pursue, and systematically kill, then move on, not to eat, not in defense. For reasons that even the scientists studying them have not fully resolved, the porpoise-killing behavior, the infanticide, the coercive behavior toward females, none of these things fit the image of the animal we have spent 50 years celebrating. They fit something more honest. They fit what the dolphin actually is, an apex predator with a cognitive architecture sophisticated enough to pursue goals across time, and the physical capacity to achieve those goals violently. No case communicates what a dolphin actually is, beneath everything we have projected onto it, better than what happened off the coast of São Paulo, Brazil, in December 1994. A bottlenose dolphin had been visiting the beaches near São Sebastião for months. The locals named him Tião. He was famous for his ease around humans. He would approach swimmers, interact with boats, allow people to get close in a way that wild dolphins almost never do. For months, people took advantage of that openness. They grabbed his pectoral fins. They tried to ride him. They stuck objects into his blowhole. Dozens of people repeatedly treating a wild animal as though it were an attraction rather than an apex predator in its natural environment. By November 1994, Tião had sent dozens of people to the hospital. In December, 2 men entered the water and attempted to physically restrain him. Tião broke the ribs of the first man. The second man, he killed. A single strike to the abdomen. Internal injuries severe enough that the man died from them. A bottlenose dolphin, the animal on the birthday cake. What the medical and behavioral record shows across every documented case of dolphin aggression is not the behavior of a frightened animal lashing out in confusion. The attacks are targeted. The injuries are consistent with deliberate force application, the same force the animal uses to ram prey, to attack porpoises, to kill calves. A zoologist at the Dolphin Biology and Conservation nonprofit in Italy described it plainly. An adult bottlenose dolphin could easily kill a swimmer if it really intended to do so. The attacks we have documented, he noted, appear to be warnings rather than genuine attempts at lethal harm, which means the animal is calibrating. It is applying force with intent. It is modulating that force. It is making decisions in real time about how much damage to do and how much to withhold. That quality, the considered, purposeful, scalable nature of the violence, does not come from reflex. It comes from intelligence. And it is the intelligence of the dolphin, far more than its teeth or its weight or its speed in the water, That should fundamentally change how you think about what you are looking at. When you look at one, the social structure that enables this behavior is equally unsettling. Male bottlenose dolphins form coalitions, not temporary alliances, but stable, long-term partnerships of 2 or 3 males who coordinate their behavior across years, sometimes across decades. These first-order alliances then form relationships with other alliances, second-order coalitions, that together compete against rival groups for access to females. Researchers in Shark Bay, Australia, studying one of the most extensively documented wild dolphin populations in the world, describe what they found as multi-level alliance formation potentially more complex than anything observed in any other non-human species, including chimpanzees. The coordination required for this is not simple. Researchers have documented that dolphins within these coalitions synchronize their movements, synchronize their vocalizations, and make strategic decisions together about when to press forward and when to withdraw. The alliances require tracking the relationships and loyalties of large numbers of individuals across extended periods of time. What researchers describe as the outcome of this system is coercive mating. A coalition of males will locate a female, separate her from her pod, and herd her, physically, through coordinated positioning and directed aggression, preventing her from leaving. They will maintain this control for days. The female has limited ability to refuse. This is organized, coordinated, planned across a coalition, executed by animals with the memory, the strategic intelligence, and the social architecture to sustain complex multi-party cooperation over extended periods of time. Frans de Waal spent his career documenting the political complexity of chimpanzee society, the alliances, the betrayals, the deliberate manipulation of social relationships. What researchers are finding in dolphin populations suggests a parallel structure evolved independently in the ocean. 2 lineages of intelligence, arriving at the same dark place by different paths. There are approximately 600,000 bottlenose dolphins estimated in the world's oceans. The range of that estimate tells you something about how much we still do not know. These animals live in a 3-dimensional environment we cannot access without equipment. They communicate in frequencies we cannot hear without instruments. They navigate in the dark using a sensory system, echolocation, that has no equivalent in human experience. They can detect the heartbeat of a fish buried in sand. They can produce a focused acoustic beam powerful enough to stun prey. We have been watching them for decades, and we are still at the beginning. What we do know is this: the dolphin is not experiencing the world the way the image on the birthday cake suggests it is. It is experiencing the world as an intelligent, social, coalition-forming predator whose relationships are built on competition as much as cooperation, whose biology includes deliberate infanticide and coordinated coercion, and whose cognitive architecture allows it to plan, remember, and adjust its behavior based on outcomes across time. And here is the hardest thing to hold in your mind, all at once. The dolphin is not evil. It is not malevolent. It is not, by any standard that applies to the ocean, cruel. It is exactly what tens of millions of years of evolution under high social pressure and intense reproductive competition produces. Its intelligence is real. Its social complexity is staggering. Its capacity for cooperation is genuinely extraordinary. And its capacity for violence is built on exactly the same cognitive foundation. We share this planet with an animal whose brain approaches our own in its architecture, whose social life approaches our own in its complexity, and whose behavior, when the conditions are right, approaches some of the darkest things documented in any species on Earth. We looked at it, and we put it in a tank. We trained it to wave at crowds. We sold stuffed versions of it to children. We watched it leap through hoops, and we told ourselves we understood what it was. The ocean is deeper than that assumption, and so is the animal inside it.